Well, as you know, I'm originally from Alberta, and in so many ways, the heart of Rebel News is in Alberta, even though our studio is in Toronto. Sheila Gunn-Reid is our chief reporter out there. She's also the head of a so-called third-party campaign group to make sure we can get the facts out there for the Alberta independence referendum, or what's turning into a referendum about a referendum. One of our friends out there who's been working with us in different ways, for example, he comes on our live streams from time to time, and we just republished a new edition of his book called The Sovereigntist Handbook, is our friend Cory Morgan. And he's dyed-in-the-wool Albertan who has set up a third-party group as well. And he's put up a billboard by the side of the road near Taber, Alberta, one of the most conservative places in the province. The billboard is very innocuous. We'll put a picture of it on the screen now. There's nothing coarse about the language. There's nothing radical. It is, you know, I don't want to be mean, but it's a bland message. Send Ottawa a message, choose Alberta. Like there's nothing offensive whatsoever there. As you can see in the fine print underneath, authorized by Pathway to Independence, that's Cory's group, so it complies with all the rules. Incredibly, this sign has been threatened by the bureaucrats in Taber. Joining us now to talk about this is Cory Morgan. Cory, can it be true? Is that Taber, one of the most right-wing places in the world, and they're mad with the most simple message, send Ottawa a message? Like that, how can you even be mad at that?
I don't know. Of all the towns, it's not Nelson, BC or something like that. I'd heard from others there's actually a big pro-life billboard in the town, which everybody's perfectly fine with. But there'd been some complaints given to the town office, and the town office sent a letter to the company that hosts the sign and demanded that he remove it. And at this point, it's still up there. We're seeing how, because it's an unreasonable request. And it's, as you said, a pretty innocuous, bland sign. I don't think it's setting a good precedent if towns can start determining who may or may not advertise on private space during a campaign.
Yeah, I'm going to say innocuous, not bland. I didn't mean to say bland. I was just making the point that you'd have to work pretty hard to be upset with that message. I mean, in all 10 provinces and 3 territories, I'm sure people like to send a message to Ottawa. It's not an unusual thing to call for. When it comes to freedom of speech, obviously a private sign, as long as it's not breaking the law of obscenity or something, or defamation, it should be left alone. In our jurisprudence over freedom of speech, political speech is deemed to be one of the most protected species of speech there is, because it's not just for the interests of the talker and the listening and the interests of the listener. It's an integral part of our democracy. So for them to target this sign is sort of crazy. But as these things sometimes happen, the Streisand effect, Cory, that when people criticize something, all of a sudden it draws a lot of attention to it, as what happens to Barbara Streisand's house in Malibu. Tell us about the Streisand effect when some town bullies tried to get that sign taken down. It turned into something wonderful. Why don't you tell us?
Well, since this has happened, I've done some things that are pretty rare. I've done some legacy media interviews as well, and they typically like to pretend that our, type of advocacy doesn't exist. As well, I've had now donations of thousands and thousands of dollars with people expressly donating for me to put more billboards up around the province. So I got another one that's live on Highway 1 over on the east side of Calgary, or the east side of Alberta. And I'm negotiating with a few other spots to get even more billboards going. So our strategy is, if you keep trying to get them banned, I'm going to keep getting donors, and we're only going to spread farther. And I can only thank the complainants for this, because it really brought us into the scroll to reach out to that many more supporters.
Yeah, well, I tell you, I hope that the town of Taber goes no further. I think they made a mistake by sending a communication to the billboard company. I'm glad so far the billboard company has held firm. And I just don't, I think they need to be corrected, but you did turn lemons into lemonade. I mentioned a moment ago, we have a third-party group as well. Yours has done superbly well. It's all public information. It's all filed with the government, so it's no secret for me to say, I think you've raised 26 grand on this, on people coming to your aid. Am I right?
That's what's on the Elections Alberta site. And actually, we don't report yet all the donations under $50. And we're still a day or two behind on that. So actually, it's over 41,000 now. which
Wow.
was well and beyond in a week. That we thought we'd raise a few $1,000s and get a few hundred lawn signs out. And this is people were obviously eager to find something to start moving a campaign along here. So it's been
Isn't
fantastic.
that great? Well, good for you for standing firm. And I saw on Twitter a picture of you just jamming your Hyundai full of lawn signs. You know, it's a painstaking business delivering lawn signs, but there's really no better way to meet people, because the people who take lawn signs are some of the best people around. They're showing some courage. Have you been out and about delivering those? Because I remember, you know, I'm 54, but when I was 29, half a lifetime ago, I briefly ran for the Canadian Alliance. I was a candidate in Calgary Southwest to succeed Preston Manning before Stephen Harper came in. And going door to door, you know, it feels sometimes like you're a door-to-door salesman. It's sort of tough to screw together the courage to do it. But when you're at the doors talking to good people, it is so rewarding. You make so many friends. Just give me some tales from the campaign trail. You're out there delivering these signs. What's the feedback like?
Yeah, well, I haven't been hitting the ground yet. We got a big event tomorrow where people are going to be coming in and picking them up off me, because I've had hundreds of requests. So I haven't started the door-to-the-door part yet. But most of the messaging from people was just, thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to display support for this. I want to see a campaign I can participate in and help with. I feel the same as you. And they're just thrilled that you know, they could start with that first little gesture by putting one on their lawn. So as soon as those events for sign pickup are finished, I've had people coming to my house to pick up signs for Ponoka and Okotoks already, to bring them out to their neighbors out there. It's going to be a lot of great interactions to look forward to. There's no doubt.
Well, congratulations. And I just want to tell folks, of course, we have been fact-checking largely the regime media, the legacy media that has a very anti-Alberta slant to it. So Cory, along with our own Sheila Gunn-Reid, have set up a website called albertafactcheck.com. And every day they are fact-checking the crazy things that come out, not just from the legacy media, but from pundits. And give me an example of a recent fact check you've done, Cory, that just made you scratch your head about how wrong the critics can be.
Sure. I mean, well, one that just kind of came out an hour ago was that somehow Stéphane Dion and Chrétien merged. Legacy media tracked them down to wherever they're hiding in retirement. And they're explaining to us that literally they called the Clarity Act perfect legislation. They say it literally was perfect. It's flawless, and it's the best thing they ever did. You know, considering it's anything but clear, and it doesn't tell us how many people need to vote to trigger a referendum, and that it doesn't involve the Senate, and many, many other questionable things. But legacy media picked those quotes up from them, put them out on face value, and people are supposed to say, wow, Canada's got perfect legislation to deal with that. That's not one of the most egregious by any means. Thomas Lukasik, that Sheila, who's regularly been correcting excellently, who keeps saying that he got those signatures not to trigger a referendum, but to put in a motion in the legislature. And he's been on video multiple times and signed documents that said it's exactly what he wants to do, is form a referendum. So it's been great to be able to hold these guys to account.